Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Radio.Air Tech Q&A. You've got questions. We've got guesses. I'm Nash, been doing Radio.Air for ages. In addition to that, I'm also an IT professional. With me, as always, my producer, Mike Gearman, who also works in IT. If you've got tech questions for us, please, by all means, go ahead and send those to requests@radio.air.com. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing better than Puff Daddy.
Yes. Yeah.
And my court appearance isn't until this week. I'm not joking. I have jury duty.
Yeah. So I've been working on a little project, little side thing. I've had this old Vox AC4 TV amplifier. People who know heard me say Vox AC4, and they're like, "What?" And then they heard me say TV, and they're like, "Oh." I've had this thing forever. I'll show people what I'm talking about. It is a little tube amplifier for about 10 years back or so. Little 10-inch speaker, tube amp, cheap little thing at the time, still relatively cheap right now. And I have had a bad habit of messing with the damn thing. At every turn, I have tried to mod it and mess around with it. I tried to make some changes to it, and I didn't like them. I changed the speaker. I didn't like that. I decided, you know what? I've got other amplifiers. Let me just use this one. I'm going to gut the dang thing. Because this right here, technically, this is the entire tube amp. This is this little cheap little PCB they put it on. I didn't like this, but I didn't like how it sounded. I replaced it with a Champ circuit, and I was like, yeah, it's not the sound. It doesn't sound right anymore. So then I tried to replace it with a classic AC4 circuit, like from back in the 60s, and that worked for shit. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I just want the damn thing to be working again. So I devised a point-to-point, or not point-to-point, but a circuit board, a hand-wired circuit board layout of the original schematic. So this is based on how it was originally put together. This is, weirdly enough, technically, this and that are the same thing, oddly enough. But I've decided I'm going to rebuild it. I'll rebuild it on stream over the next week or so when parts get here, because it's not a real expensive rebuild. Like I think I spent $50 all told, which, it's not nothing, but compared to some of the stuff you'd spend on these, it's a lot, mainly because I'm reusing the original transformers that came with the amp, which tend to be the most expensive parts of this. Just to show you how far I've tried. Oh shit! That fell down. That's not good. Whoopsie. My bad. We're good. A little oopsie doodle. Just to show you how far I've gone with converting this thing. This is what the interior of it originally looked like. This is what the interior of the AC4 TV usually looks like. Okay, that's the inside of the amplifier right there. Okay, this is what it looks like now. This is what I've done.
Nash,
Yeah,
you've given that amplifier anxiety.
yes. I moved the transformers down here.
Anxiety.
It didn't have a full chassis before. It was just a bent sheet of metal with all the stuff mounted to it. So I've kind of continued with that, although I do actually have a closed chassis here now that I can actually do something with. And yeah, I'll be populating the circuit board and putting it back together, and it should be neat if it works. hopefully these two transformers are still okay. But yeah, so I'll be messing around with that. Just it's something to do, and it didn't cost that much, so yay, I'll get it fixed. Something that I should have fixed like ages past, and oh shoot, I bent that. That's what I did. Oops a doodle. Well, that's okay. That's why I have this here. I could just snap this and bend it right back. The inside. Yeah, the inside is made of aluminum. This little extra chassis I built into it, the actually enclosed part, is made of aluminum, so it's not exactly the most rough and tumble of materials, but you're not supposed to drop it, so that's on me. Ow. Fuck with this later. Damn it. Could be worse. Could have been, like all together with the actual glass tubes in there, and that would be very bad. All right, so that's what I've been doing. Yeah, I've been breaking that. Other people have been breaking other things this week.
Yes.
You may remember a few weeks back, the UK put into effect some rules regarding adult content, big air quotes, and user IDs would be required for that stuff. And
age verification.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone told them this is a bad idea.
We did.
It will get hacked. People will get their identities stolen.
Yep.
And what happened this week?
Yeah.
It was revealed it was a bad idea.
The method Discord the method Discord chose to do this with was they actually got copies of people's picture IDs, their legal government documents to determine that the people is who they is. And they lost that, and they lost a bunch of stuff with it. They say information from a limited number of users.
Okay, so I'm going to say right now, that's weasel words. And what that is that is weasel words for they didn't get everyone.
Yeah, but there's a big difference, but there's a gap between how many everyone is and just, some is. Some can still be almost everyone. Yep. Unauthorized party accessed a small number of images of government IDs from users who had appealed an age determination. Full credit card numbers and passwords were not impacted, though they did get the last 4 digits of credit cards, which, if you know what you're doing and you find the right pieces of information about people, you can actually piece that together into a complete credit card, depending. Because
Discord's going to reach out to the people involved, and they've revoked the support provider's access to the Discord ticketing system.
Good.
Which
Good job.
Feels to be very much closing the barn door after the horses have already fled. To me.
Yeah. There's 2 problems here. Number 1, the UK decided to do this without having any sort of mechanism in place for this ID check. They just said, y'all figure some shit out, but you better figure some shit out. It's up to you.
Which basically meant that everyone, the bigger boys could roll their own, and the smaller ones would have to basically contract it out, because rolling your own identity verification service is difficult. It is time consuming and it is expensive. And small companies don't have the capability to do that, but they can contract out. The problem is, in this field, there are a lot of, 1, shady operators, and 2, companies promising the moon and not able even to deliver Myrtle Beach.
Yes, we have a process where it was the government said, you have to do something. What you do, but you better make us happy. We're not going to tell you how. We're not going to codify that. But y'all better do something or else you're going to get in trouble and we're going to come down with fines and maybe take you offline. So figure some shit out, folks.
Now, technically, the way the UK did it is actually better than at least the way one state of the United States did it, where they said, no, you're not allowed to subcontract out. You've got to do this yourself. And so some companies have said, yeah, we're not going to be in that state anymore. We're blocking that state. We can't afford it.
Oh, so you have the government side of it. You also have the people trying to implement it. And they had to implement it in a flipping hurry because this went into effect under Labor, which, Labor these days is just a different color of Tories. And suddenly you have companies like Discord. They're like, well, fuck, we got to do something. Here, we did the thing. Oh, fuck, we got hacked. Oh, shit. This is not going to be the last time we see this because this is a very ill thought out, haphazard, slapped together law by people who just think you push a button and shit happens. This is also the same government in the UK who's saying, we'll solve the future with AI. How, they don't know. But
and they're
AI.
Also the same government in the UK that said, Apple, we need a backdoor into everything you've ever done. Oh, no, people are yelling at us. We're going to back off on that. They've stopped yelling. We're Apple. We need a backdoor into everything you've ever done.
Yeah, they're freaking imbeciles. So this mess is not over by a long shot. There are two outcomes that could happen here. One, the government could figure out they need to codify something if they're going to try to do this and come up with some sort of system on their own that other companies can use so that if this happens, it's the government's fault. Or they could just say, you figure it out. We trust you, or we don't, but whatever. If you don't, we'll fine you. So it's on you, which is probably what's going to happen. So other bad news. Oh boy. All right. Do you remember the 23rd night incident? No. Do you remember way back, 10 years back, by the way, the dawn of streaming? Netflix was upon us and others were trying to jump in. The whole idea was, here's everything for a reasonable monthly fee. And enough people jumped in that was profitable.
Yeah. And then every company involved said, wait, we're not getting enough of the money from this, so we're going to roll our own so we can get all the money. And it didn't happen because people don't want to pay for 19 different services.
And when when everyone isn't paying for the same service and you split it up to a bunch of different services, things become less profitable. So every streaming service, you'll note, has been raising their prices because, well, one of the things that's funny about the streaming era that they just did not take into account, the reason cable got away with constantly raising their prices was contract lock-in.
Yes.
They could raise their prices because people were under a certain period of time, they couldn't leave. There isn't anything like that for streaming.
And often cable was the only game in town.
So now if they raise their prices, people can just say, I don't need it. I'll shut it off. And it's gone. And the money goes away. Why am I talking about this? Well, guess who decided to, and this is like a price that's like suicidal, I'd almost say. Microsoft has hiked Game Pass with a 50% price hike. It has gone from $17 to $19.99 last year. And this year they're moving it from $20 to $30 US, effective immediately.
Yep. Now, a little bit buried in this is something where they say, "Oh no, it's not as bad as you think." As part of the Xbox Game Pass revamp, Ultimate subscribers are now able to earn up to $100 per year simply by gaming. Now, it doesn't really go into details of how much you have to game, what you have to do to earn this $100 back. You say, hey, that would earn most of that back. Yeah, most people aren't going to get that.
No, most people aren't going to get that.
That is a carrot you are dangling in front of people saying, see, it's only going to be an extra $20 a year, but no, it's not. It's going to be an extra $120 a year. And for 5% probably of the people, they'll get that back.
And how much, literally, how many people can afford to game every single flipping day to the point where they're earning back up? And if you consider $100 over the course of a year, that's less than $10 a month. That's a paltry amount.
Yeah.
And just to make matters worse, Microsoft is starting to realize this service is cannibalizing their own sales because Battlefield 6 came out and Game Pass ate a whole bunch of those profits because people just played it on Game Pass and didn't actually buy it.
Yeah. Why would you? Now, okay, so there are some games I will quite say have lots of replayability. I'm not sure that most of these Battlefield games, I mean, yes, you can play them over and over and be different each time because you've got different people, whatever. I'm assuming it's one of those multi-person shooter games. I could be wrong. But at a certain point, I've played those in the past. I get tired of them. I'm like, no, I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, you have access to all of these games, but it's like you have, when you're like watching Netflix or something, you have access to all of these movies. How many of those fucking movies are you going to watch? How many of those movies are just absolute garbage that you'll never touch?
Most of them.
So many.
I'll be honest. I've never had Netflix. I periodically look at what they have available. There's certain things. I'm not going to say what. It's nothing sketchy or anything. It's just like, is this available on Netflix? No, it's not. Okay, still not getting Netflix.
If you break this down, $30 a month, that's $60 over 2 months. So that's the cost of a new game every 2 months, which is about the rate most people play new games, if you think about it. So you've effectively priced Game Pass to the point where, why don't you just buy the games? Because, you know, at this point, if you're buying the new games, then you have, it's just, there you go, you know. But no, now you've priced it where it's the same. To me, it'd be a better value to just buy 6 games a year, 6 $60 games a year. That seems like a better value to me than Game Pass for that money. Yeah,
and I've gotten more playability out of like cheap $5 games off of Steam than more enjoyment.
Not only is Daryl pointing out they go on sale, but if you're actually already an Amazon Prime subscriber, then Twitch gives you free games every month, like tons of them. They're not always the newest games, but some of them are like really good games. They just throw you games every month. So there's that. And that's included with Amazon Prime. Just free shit. They're yours forever, and you can get them on like GOG or Epic or Steam. It all depends. This is dumb. Why are they? It's golden goose time. It's goose that laid the golden eggs time is what's happening here, and I don't see Microsoft and Xbox being a thing for, a terrible continued amount of time. I don't think they're doing great. This seems like a bad plan. Also, things that aren't doing great. And I know some of you will actually struggle to remember this because it came and went like that. Who remembers Apple Vision Pro?
I remember it because we mocked it.
Yeah, well, it's the freaking swim goggles with the fake eyes on them. Remember those? The VR glasses.
And my recollection is the fake eyes didn't even track where your eyes were in. No. So if I'm wearing them and I look over here, the eyes on the goggles didn't look over there. They just stayed sort of, maybe they moved around a little bit. And I don't think we ever found out if you could mod what was on the outside. Because I'll be honest with you, if someone modded that to be a Cylon thing going back and forth, I'd at least go, cool.
Yeah. Well, the $3,500 Vision Pro dropped, it was just last year, dropped February 2024. And what I remember most about it was a bunch of influencers getting one, making videos about having it, and then returning them within the 30-day period. And it didn't go great. Did you know that Marvel made an exclusive what if adventure for the Apple Vision? Did you even hear about that?
Was it what if Cyclops had one of these instead of stupid heat ray vision?
No. It was it was an entire people are like,
you can tell Gail Simone didn't write it.
Yeah. Marvel did well. Yeah, people are like, what? Yeah, it was based on the cartoon. It was full animated. I don't know how many of the actual voice actors they got for it. I know they didn't get Jeffrey Wright. And they didn't get Wong either. They didn't get Benedict Wong. But they did do like the full animated and it was a VR game, and it was about as good as most VR games are. Well, everyone's been waiting ever since then for them to release the affordable version. I say everyone. I'm like, well, mostly Apple fanboys, because everyone else just like, I ain't going to do that. Because it was a VR AR mix. It was like, oh, hey, you put this on and you have a monitor virtual right in front of you, and you have a workspace in front of you, and you can type with your hands, and you're sitting there going, $3,500. My laptop cost me like $500. And it does all that stuff too, and I don't have to put a thing on my head. And it lasts more than 2 hours, and it doesn't have that stupid battery hanging down from my ear, and I don't have to.
And so they're canceling, or they're slow walking development on anything further on it rather than canceling. I'm not saying they're canceling it yet. To work on AI glasses instead.
Yeah. So understand, the Vision Pro was Apple hopping into the metaverse. That was their bet. They're like, okay, metaverse is happening. We're going to do the best metaverse. We're going to do the most expensive metaverse. Why aren't people buying the metaverse? And keep in mind, their metaverse came out.
I'll tell you the big reason nobody bought the metaverse. Because they advertised it initially with creepy Mark Zuckerberg. And it's hard to imagine a virtual Mark Zuckerberg being creepier than the real Mark Zuckerberg, but they pulled it off.
Oh, man, this is like almost 2 years after the metaverse collapsed and became like not a thing. And Apple's like, here we are, we've arrived. You were so late to this party. There wasn't even a party. It was like three guys in the corner waiting for the chicks to arrive. They're never showing up. And so they're like, well, what do we do now? Well, now they're going back to competing with Mark Zuckerberg again, because now they're shifting to their own AR glasses to compete with Meta's AR glasses, which are, again, $800 smart glasses.
Yes.
Where the utility of them has not been established. There is no...
Oh, no, that's not true, Nash. That's not true, Nash. You must have missed this story. The utility absolutely has been established for the Meta AI glasses because a Bay Area university is warning people about a creepy guy wearing Meta AI glasses coming up and perving on women.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got our use case.
Yeah, okay. Violating privacy, sure. That sounds about right. But they're also relying on AI to make these things functional, which, how? Magic, fairy dust, I guess.
My favorite thing about this is they're abandoning a product that no one cared about to make another product that by the time they get it out, no one will care about.
Like, people are already mocking Mark Zuckerberg's iteration of you. Do you not remember the last time this happened? Metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg mocked. Okay? Now, AR glasses, Mark Zuckerberg mocked, and it failed. Pay attention! You're Apple, for frick's sake. I mean, I don't get Apple stuff, but at least, you know, you're kind of a market leader, sorta, kinda. So, yeah, this is just a nice reminder right now that the entire tech industry has nothing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have anything new. They don't have anything practical. They don't have anything revolutionary, and they don't even have much that's, you know, basic utility. They're just the same stuff as before, and they're flailing around trying to make a new iPhone out of everything. It's like just watching a guy run through a park and grab trash and be like, "Is this an iPhone? Is this an iPhone? Maybe is this PieCone an iPhone? Give me money!" Yeah. So anyway, that's the news for this week. Now we're gonna shift over to your questions. If you got tech questions for me and Mike, send those to requests at radio.air.com. We'll try and answer this for you. Got a couple. Start with navigators. All right. Navigator BR, I have a friend that's trying to do some upgrades to his roughly 7-year-old computer since the current motherboard appears to not be Windows 11 compliant. He also is thinking about replacing his NVIDIA 1050 since he suspects that it's reaching the GTX 1050, upper limits of the capabilities in the future. He doesn't have the build/buy an entirely new PC money, so he's trying to replace those two parts instead. Motherboards and Alienware, that's not going to really help because those are proprietary Dell motherboards. Intel i7 7700. All right. Well, the first big problem here that he's going to run into in trying to upgrade the system is it is an Alienware and it's a Dell. That means not only is the motherboard proprietary, not only is the power supply proprietary, that also the case is proprietary. So he can't actually just run out and get a new motherboard and put it in that case. His options for upgrading are limited. That's 7700, 4-core, 8 threads. It's not great. And yeah, I don't think that is Windows 11. Yeah, it's probably not Windows 11 compliant by the base standards. So the cheap solution to this is using a program called Rufus. Rufus will let you make for free a version of Windows 11 you can upgrade to. Now, previously with this, your only option was to reinstall Windows fresh. You had to delete your Windows 10 installation and install Windows 11 from scratch, and even would work on unsupported software. Now they've updated the installer, so it'll work as an upgrade. You can just, set this up and using Rufus, a USB stick, and you can upgrade your existing system. So let's see what you need to do for this here. There are steps to it. Mainly, the program is called Rufus. You can find it at rufus.ie, and you probably have to find, there are several tutorials about how to do this. Just how to make a bootable USB flash drive with Rufus to upgrade Windows 11. That's his best option. Now, I've had people like, but what if they make it not supported suddenly? I've been running Windows 11. I had been running Windows 11 on my 2014 laptop before I got the new refurbished one. Used that I refurbished. But anyway, I had been running Windows 11 on it. It was getting updates. It was having no problems. I really doubt that Microsoft is going to suddenly cut off all these unsupported systems, because if they do, after all these people who've already upgraded them, they'll be creating a lot of problems for themselves in the process of doing so. So his best option right now is to look into upgrading via that the Rufus method, because quite simply there's not a lot he can upgrade with that system.
Yeah. If the video card is a standard form factor, you can upgrade that.
There's that, yeah.
The thing with Alienware, sometimes they had special video cards, but I believe they mostly knocked that off.
Yeah, once they get to 1050, I don't think they have anymore. You're gonna have to check how
from Dell that did the special.
You're gonna have to check to see how much of a power supply is in that Alienware system to determine what you can upgrade to. Also, keep in mind, a lot of newer video cards require something called resizable bar. It's a newer feature that's been added lately. Let me see. Is resizable bar? Intel 7th gen? Let's see. Trying to see how far back. Okay, it started in 2020. And 7th gen's older than that. So, not to go into what resizable bar is, it's a method of memory swapping on the motherboard that's a newer addition to this setup. Some cheaper graphics cards don't work quite right without resizable bar. So even if you get something new, it may start limiting the performance of it. Also, I believe 7th gen might still be PCIe 3.0. So some newer graphics cards are PCIe 4.0 and 5.0 even. And without those, you'll also take some speed hits to the performance of whatever you get. My best recommendation right now is to look to save some cash. Look for something used Radeon 6000 series, like 6700 and up. That will probably be available at a somewhat reasonable price, and like somewhere like between $200 and $300 is what you can get for. Probably cheaper than that by now. I don't know. I haven't looked in a little bit. Let's see, just to get an idea. RX 6700. Let's see what the price is like on those. Yeah, they're about somewhere between $200 and $300 for the RX 6700. And there's 6700 XT is in there as well. Those are some reasonably priced graphics cards, it'll be a considerable upgrade over that 1050. You could probably find some cheaper stuff as well, but going back further than that 6000 series there wouldn't be a point to it. I mean, typically anything would be faster than 1050, but if you're going to be spending money on this, get something that has at least a little heft to it. So yeah, an RX 6700 XT might be what he's looking for a graphics card. Between that and upgrading to Windows 11 with the Rufus method, that will probably tide him over until maybe he can afford something better. Really, what your friend's going to have to do is you're going to need an 8th gen Intel or newer, which that means new motherboard. Let's see. I forget chipsets. Intel 7th gen chipset. That was Kaby Lake. What was the chipset for it? Yeah, LG 1151. So let's see what came after it. 8th gen. All right. Well, those are still Kaby Lake. Let's see. Is 8th gen 1151? Sorry, I'm trying to look up the nitty gritty of these things, and it gets a little irritating. 8th gen, is that also? That's Coffee Lake. Okay, well. See, Coffee Lake, same core count, same performance. What socket were they? Are they the same? See, Coffee Lake. Keeping track of it. Let's see. See. It's hard to tell. Trying to figure that out. Okay. LGA 1151. The Vision Star pin count. They're electrically incompatible. So 6 and 7. All right. So yeah, you can't upgrade from Kaby Lake to Coffee Lake. They are the same pins. They're both an 1151 socket, but they have different pin outs. So yeah. What I was getting to, well, I was sorry, went off on a little tangent there. It would be nice if there was a drop-in replacement for that motherboard. There's not going to be. His only choice is case replacement, motherboard replacement, CPU replacement, RAM, maybe RAM replacement. If he goes to, if he gets something used and still sticks with DDR4, he might be okay there. Power supply replacement. It's going to be the whole thing. And to be Windows 11 compliant, you have to get at least Ryzen 2000 or newer, or at least Intel 8th gen or newer. He's just on the cusp there, and is pretty much at the point where he'd have to look for a whole new system or used system to. This is why we can't recommend stuff like Alienware, or certain Lenovo systems or some others. Any system that is not built using standard ATX compatible parts, which is the industry standard for PC parts, cases, power supply, motherboards. If they aren't standard, we cannot recommend buying their pre-built systems, because you end up in this situation with a system you can't do anything with. It's junk now. It's e-waste. And we're going to see a lot of these this month. We're going to see a lot of systems that are going to be effectively e-waste. You can do the Rufus stuff, but that's about it.
I feel we're going to see a lot of people doing random case mods as well. Like, this would be a perfectly good case, except for the fact that it was this custom thing. I'm going to mod it to let it fit standard components. And we might see some interesting things. We might see some
you
fires.
might see some interesting things, but at the point you're trying to mod a PC case to fit standard parts, unless you already have those tools and the time, you'd just be better off getting like a Montech case, because those are cheap as dirt.
Or going to Goodwill and seeing what standard cases they have.
Yeah, Goodwill sometimes has stuff like that. Anyway. All right. Hopefully that answered the question. Let's see what is next. This is from Blake. Hey, Nash, Mike, so many cats. Had Windows 10 on my laptop for the longest time this week. Went ahead and finally upgraded to Windows 11. Installation has gone mostly without a hitch. 2 oddities I'm hoping to fix, and I can help you with these. Memory integrity cannot be turned on because of incompatible driver. STTUB30.sys ST Microelectronics. Generic STM USB driver. There is a quick and simple fix for this. Okay, very, very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. Okay. You find that file. You change the ending of it to .old. You restart your computer. It will fix it. I'm not entirely sure why, but it will. Doing that will force Windows to look for the driver. Probably what happened is between the upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11, some drivers did not get upgraded because as far as Windows was concerned, it still worked. So some drivers were just left alone, and they shouldn't have been. By renaming that file, put .old at the end of it. By renaming the file, it will force the computer, it will force Windows to go, oh, this needs a driver. Let me see what's available. And you'll get something compatible. Now you're sitting there thinking, well, shouldn't Windows do that anyway? Not necessarily. Windows is Windows. The other one is I have 2 desktop.ini files on the desktop. I can't move them anywhere without Windows warning me that things might not work. That's because you have go ahead.
Show hidden files on. And you don't want to delete those. What those do is they control any customizations you've made to your desktop. So if you delete them, suddenly your customizations are gone. And when you reboot, a new desktop.ini file will be there. So just turn off show hidden files and they go away. You don't see them.
So yeah, that's you have to shut off. It's not just show hidden files; it shows system files, critical system files, or something. You have to shut that option off, and they'll go away. They'll still. And the reason why you're getting 2 of them is they're actually 2 different files in 2 different places, but they have the same name. One's in like one section of your user folder and one's in like the public user folder. They're 2 completely different files, but they have the same name, and because you're getting shortcuts to them on your desk, it's just shut off the hidden system files and they will go away. That's what's causing it. So all right, let's see. And I got the name on this one. Did I not get the name on this one? Whose name was on this? Let's see. Juan. Okay. It's from Juan. Hey, Nash and Mike. I started a new job that luckily lets me work from home every now and then. Starting to wonder if there's a switch or device that will let me connect my work laptop to my PC monitor, so I don't have to keep unplugging and replugging the HDMI cable from my PC. Well, Juan, there used to be something called a docking station. But the problem was the docking stations were proprietary to each individual laptop. There was no universal docking station. Like you could buy a laptop and you'd have to get like Dell's docking station or Apple's docking station or whatever Apple's always proprietary, but you get my point. They had to get the one to match the laptop, and it changed from model to model. Even the same Dell manufacturer, HP, the new model wouldn't work with the old docking station. There are new docking stations, kind of, but the catch here is you have to plug in your USB-C to make them work. And it will let you do video and everything across USB-C, but you'll still be plugging and replugging something into the PC every time you come home. That is pretty much your only choice. Aside from, if you are willing, there are some wireless options that you can do. And you can do video wireless transmitters. I saw a couple of them looking on Amazon.
There's another thing you can do, Nash.
What?
And that's called a KVM switch.
Yeah, but you're still plugging and unplugging something. That's the problem. You're still plugging something in and unplugging something.
But he's not plugging in from the PC to from the PC to whatever to the monitor. He's got two computers living off one device. He just pushes a button and he goes, "Oh, I'm now on the other device."
But he's still plugging his laptop into it.
He didn't seem like that was a problem for him. It was the PC.
I don't want to have to keep unplugging and replugging the HDMI from my PC. Yeah, it's a work laptop to my PC monitor. The way around this is you can get a wireless transmitter to go into one of the HDMI ports on your. This is only going to work if your monitor has multiple inputs for video. Typically they do. And what you will have to do is you'll have to switch the monitor. You'll have to go to the monitor, push the button to switch to a different channel. So if you're using like DisplayPort for your main PC, you have to switch to HDMI. These wireless transmitters allow you to connect your laptop to the monitor wirelessly, and it will be a wireless monitor. The problem is it will introduce a little bit of lag, and it will, it's going to be limited based on that, and you're at like your proximity and how good your wireless home network is. Not your Wi-Fi, not like your not like your connection to the internet, but your like how good your router is going to play a part in that as well. If you're not gaming, that might be a viable option to use a wireless option like that. Or just something like a Miracast or something like you could probably do that with like a cheap Chromecast or something. That would probably an easier way without having to unplug and replug something. Otherwise, yeah, it's like Mike said, you'd have to get like a KVM switch. That's an option, but you're gonna be plugging and unplugging something in. Swapping between PC and laptop monitor, they have both HDMI and DisplayPort. They do, Drake. Do you know? Or no, you're not Juan. Are you? You're not Juan.
No. He's saying if the monitor has multi imports, you could just have everything going and just go on the monitor, push the button and go switch to this, switch to this, switch to this.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Otherwise there isn't another real option. Just a wireless video transmission is about your best. You'd have to find a transmitter somewhere between $20 to $50. You'll find one, or maybe even a Chromecast and just do screencasting to it. That would work as well, because there are options that allow you to do that. But otherwise, no, you're gonna be there isn't like a good simple docking station like we used to have. They've kind of. I know some still exist, but by and large, manufacturers have kind of given up on those. They're not as popular as they used to be. All right, let's see. This is from Chris. Hello, Nash, Mike, Assorted Critters. I've been putting off upgrading to Windows 11, but I think I should get around doing that now that 10 has reached end of life. Not quite yet. You got like a week or two, but you're close. Stories like the SSD issue from recent update have me nervous. Do we know if that's been resolved, or if there are other reasons I should hold off on it for a while longer? That one is, well, it's they're working on it.
I did research on this one just for a little bit for that bug, and Microsoft is saying no, it wasn't our update. It looks like that was just coincidental on the timing. It seems to be a very limited circumstance from the millions of people using SSDs from these various vendors, a very finite number of people. Now, if you go on Reddit, you can go, someone will go, no, this happened to both my dad and my brother, and not my cousin, and lots of things, but it's still anecdata. It doesn't look like it's affecting a lot of things. And so I don't have a good reason to tell you don't upgrade to Windows 11 right now.
And this is not limited. This kind of thing happened with Windows 10. It happened with Windows 7. It happens sometimes. This kind of thing has happened with Linux sometimes, though you don't hear about it as much because not as many people use Linux. But these things do happen. It's not restricted simply to Windows 11. I mean, you probably should not hold off on it because end of life is coming. You can extend it for a year if you really want to. There's options to do that, but they're all going to require getting yourself a Microsoft account. So if you feel comfortable with that, then you can extend your Windows 10 support for one more year. But after that year, presumably you're going to have to still consider upgrading at that point. Regardless, I have been on Windows 11 for the better part of the year now. And aside from one issue that was my own fault, not Windows' fault. Well, actually, not that was because I was using that HDMI to DisplayPort adapter and my entire computer lost its mind. I know it sounds weird. All right. A couple of weeks back, we had a problem with this. I've got multiple monitors, and I replaced this monitor had been running on an HDMI to DisplayPort adapter. Because my video card has 3 display ports, 1 HDMI, and the only HDMI was set to a monitor that's built into the case. So I only had DisplayPort for these 3, and the one monitor I was using over here only had HDMI. So I'm like, well, I've already run and I put a bigger monitor over here. I took one out of storage, and I'm like, well, since this one's already here, it seems silly to run a new DisplayPort cable. I'll just use the HDMI that's already there. What's the harm? And I put on a DisplayPort to HDMI adapter to a DisplayPort connection, and the screen did not like that because presumably it was not well made and the bandwidth wasn't getting through to the proper extent that it should have. And this monitor would constantly disconnect. And when I was doing really stressful stuff, like, say, streaming and playing a game at the same time, that disconnection, when the monitor disconnects, Windows goes, oh, fuck, rearrange everything. And it stops and tries to rearrange all the desktops. And I was in the middle of I was gaming and streaming, and all the desktops moved around, and the computer went, my give up. And it's forced a restart. It corrupted my hard drive. It was very stupid. And it had nothing to do with that SSD thing. And that's the only problem I've had with it. And that's because ever since I swapped to a proper DisplayPort cable, problem's gone. It all behaves now.
And I've been using Windows 11 here since December of last year when I built this computer. And the only problem I've had was that when it installed everything, it did not decide to turn off the onboard video when it detected that I had a dedicated video card. And so it was passing stuff. No, the onboard video is going to process this, not the video card. I'm like, why is this shit so slow? What's going on here? Why is my frame rate so? Turn this off. Oh yeah, no, the video card, which at this point been going like, I'm just chilling here, man. I'm like, he's not having me do a thing. Oh, he wants me to work now. Yeah, no problem.
If you are concerned about the 2 main concerns people have are all the AI garbage, which there's a simple program, look for Windows 11 debloat, and it runs a script, and you can select what you do and don't want. You can fix, and that'll work for Windows 10 as well. It'll fix a lot of stuff that will you get a lot of telemetry and other crap. Get rid of it. And if you're concerned about the aesthetics of it, and there are still, like, you can't move the taskbar around like you used to. I don't know why they restricted that. But if you want a at least a better menu experience, look for OpenShell. It will replace your start button menu with something a little nicer. And those are both free.
And for at work, where we're not allowed to use those sort of things.
Yeah.
I've been working up basically a FAQ for Windows 11 for the user base, saying when they come to me and say, I'm just going to publish this basically at work and say, hey, I've switched to this version of Windows 11. How do I do this? And my answer is often, you can't. Microsoft took that functionality away.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Next question here is where did I put it? Is it over here? There it is. Oh yeah. This is from Brandon. Hi, dear Nash and Mike. Recently I've noticed my CD player, an Onkyo C7030, starting to skip on discs that aren't even scratched. I think it might be time to get the lens on the player clean, but I'm not sure the best way to clean it. It's gotten hard to find cleaning kits these days. Some of them look like they were made by fly-by-night companies. Is there a cleaning kit or method you can recommend that won't damage the player? Is it a single disc tray? It's a single disc trailing player, thankfully. Well.
Okay, so first I looked at this player just to see, and this is a $300 home audio player. So obviously you want to get extended life out of this. At work, when I've had to do this, we've used a brand called, I think it's Allsop, and seemed okay. But also, I wasn't using it on very high-end gear.
Yeah. Honestly, the best method for cleaning the laser on a CD player, you're going to hate me saying this, is you take it apart and you get in there with like a cotton bud and clean it. But with like alcohol and whatnot, but that's not a really great method for most people.
For a $20 one, I'd try that just because I'd like to take it apart. $300 device.
The cleaning kits tend to be okay. I've never heard of one damaging a CD player, but my experience on that's limited these days. I don't think I've ever actually used one in my life, actually. But I've never had a problem with them. I've seen, if you're really concerned about it, maybe try to look on eBay to find some vintage ones that have not been opened. I know it sounds a little weird, but the ones that still exist, they aren't exactly terrible. It's just, optical is going out. Endust. Oh, hey, Endust has one. CD, DVD, Blu-ray lens cleaner. Yeah, that's another thing to do. You can look up Blu-ray lens cleaners instead of just DVD or CD cleaners. It's the same principle. It's the same laser. It'll work.
Now, I will say that some of the cleaners, because I saw this on the Allsop one, I was looking up the specific one because I just used one at work for a piece of AV gear. Has things it works for and does not work for. And the one I used specifically says, don't use it on Blu-ray, don't use it on Xbox, don't use it on Nintendo, don't use it on PlayStation, and don't use it on automotive multi-disc systems. None of those are applicable to you. It's just do a little bit of checking to make sure it is not going to cause an issue, or at least they don't, think it's going to cause an issue.
I see there's a Maxell one for CDs that still exists. Wow, Maxell still exists. And that is $14. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. So yeah, there are still some brands out there that are reliable. You just have to look for them, but they exist. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. And let's see. We got one more, I think. Yes, we have one more. This is from Mara. Hi, Nash, Mike, the Floofs. My motherboard currently only has one slot for an M.2 SSD, and I want to ask about your suggestions for adapter expansions that would allow for more M.2 NVMe slots. Would be nice. Would appreciate whatever you guys have to offer. Mara, typically the best way to upgrade, expand M.2s on motherboards that only have one is with a PCIe card. I personally, you know what? I've actually looked into getting SATA to M.2 adapters, and they don't exactly exist. There are some M.2 form factor SSDs that to SATA, but they're actually a SATA connection, not NVMe connection. So they're in the right form factor, but they don't connect the same way. And that's, those are slower garbage. Mainly what you're going to want to look for is a PCIe adapter for M.2. You'll find some that have like multiple slots on them, and they just plug into a PCIe card slot on your motherboard. Now, the only thing is, typically, I don't know how much this has changed, but historically, I've known you couldn't boot off of one that was plugged into the PCIe slot. And this is because of how the system addresses PCIe when the system starts up and how it addresses storage devices. Now, they may have changed that over time with newer UEFI, newer BIOS. So maybe you can, but considering you already have one slot on your board, that's probably going to be your boot drive anyway. This would just be, you'd be able to add storage this way, and it will act just like, the computer will see them as additional drives because it will be adding a new controller and the whole thing will be contained on the PCIe card. That's the best way if you're on motherboards with limited slots. However, these days motherboards now have limited PCIe slots. So they only give you like 2, maybe 3.
But you might not need more than that. Retop makes one that can handle up to 4. It only has 3 ratings on Newegg, but they're all 5 eggs. So
there are a couple of them you can find. But yeah, that's the best way of doing it. It will add the slots. It's kind of like a USB connector, only it's a little more reliable and the system behaves a little better with it. Now, there are, of course, USB adapters to allow you to add M.2 slots, but you'll be limited to the speed of USB 3.0 or USB 4.0 or whichever in 3.1, 3.2, the in between. And that's not the maximum that PCIe and NVMe can do. They can go really much faster than what the USB can offer. So yeah, a PCIe card would be your best option. It's just the problem is, like right now, currently, all of my PCIe slots are full. I've got 3. No, technically, do I have 4? I think I have 4, but I one of them is inaccessible because my video card's too big, and one's got my sound card and one's got my capture card in it. So there goes that. Yeah, they don't give you that. Like used to be back in my day, you get a motherboard, you get like 20 expansion slots. You can plug all the shit in there. You can plug your dog in. It didn't matter. You get all of them on ISA and back in, what is it, the API or the ATP and the OPP, whichever it was. I remember things. APCIe models brands like Cal4 or Void. Basically, you're going to go off of reviews on that one because there's so many people putting so many into the market. You'll find some that like they're higher level and they're higher price because, they've got like a brand name on them. But a lot of them are just using the same parts and the same connections and the same NVMe control. So just shop around, see what people have said about them in general. But yeah, that's going to be your best upgrade option going forward. All right, that is going to do it for us this week. A lot of good ones.
There's one other thing, Nash. We had someone in the channel say, hey, Nash, Mike, and Kits, I wanted to drop by to say thanks for your advice about the hard drive cloning you gave me a couple episodes ago. It helped out a ton. Ended up with a 2 terabyte M.2 that I got on sale at Micro Center, and the cloning software made it really easy. Been running smooth for about a week now, and I haven't noticed anything crazy. P.S. Sorry for forgetting to include my name at the end of the email. Didn't mean to be difficult about that.
Okay.
So we got to thank you in the chat.
That's good. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. In the meanwhile, still send your tech questions to request@radio.air.com. Put them in the YouTube comments and whatnot. We will answer from there. Meanwhile, for Mike and myself, we'll see you back here next time. Thanks, everybody. Good night.